Welcome back to Earth and Star Spiritual Wellness Center. This week, I want to continue introducing our facilitators, and we're right here at the end of that with me. So we've introduced our other facilitators to you. You've met Ron, and he'll be bringing his counterpart, Patty. You've met Katie, Aaron, Yona French Hawk, and now you have me. So I'm sure that somebody would have interviewed me if I asked them, but I was kind of curious to see where this interview would go if I interviewed myself. And I like that because there's two pieces to this that I'm kind of keeping up anyways, because I have the part of me that's me, Mary, who's going to be facilitating part of this and teaching part of this and doing part of this retreat. But then there's the part of me that is the teacher and the president of Earth and Star Spiritual Wellness Center. So I'm holding a personal intention for you and also holding an overall goal for the retreat, for the spiritual nonprofit itself. And these are two different things that go together cohesively. So I want to start with our overall goal at Earth and Star Spiritual Wellness Center, or what we're hoping you get out of just coming to this retreat. Our slogan here is welcome home. And we've talked a little bit about this before, but when you come to one of our retreats, we're not welcoming you into our home. We are welcoming you into the home that you are. We are designing everything to give you the space and the opportunity in a supportive environment to learn who you are on the inside, what your home is, so that you can learn how to be comfortable in yourself, with yourself, and your gifts, and just who you are authentically as a person. We go through life being told how to act, who we are, what we're supposed to be doing. And not all of this is parents, it's society in general. There's stuff that's so ingrained in us that we just naturally feel like a failure if we have not accomplished certain things. There's part of us that naturally feels not as good as or rejected if we don't look like or act like this particular thing. And it's just because of the media, social media, movies, just society as a whole. So when we come to a place like this retreat, we are hoping to unplug, to get away from the expectation of everything, because the only thing that will ever disappoint you is your own expectations. So we get away from everything that society expects of us, family expects of us, and even what we expect of us. And we come into a space where everyone else has the same goal, to just get to who they are on the inside. And through this, we go through many ceremonies together that connect our energies, that make us feel one, make us feel supported. Because the goal is to get rid of this separation, which is the ego identity. When we sit in our ego identity of who we are and what we're supposed to be, that keeps me separate from this other person here at the same retreat. That keeps that person separate from this other facilitator here at the same retreat. And that's not the point. Within unity, we understand all of what our power is. Because within unity, we understand who God is, who Spirit is. And that is all of the power in the universe. And that is who we are. On the inside, that shine, that power, that soul is Spirit. And that's who you're here to meet. You're here to meet yourself. Welcome home. Within that larger, overarching goal, we also have smaller individual intentions. You've met with the other facilitators through their videos already, where they've shared their intention for you and how they're going to be trying to help you through abundance and safety and connection. And they have all of their gifts so that within this house, Each ceremony that you go through, you'll be meeting with a separate facilitator. So it's like going through all of the rooms of the house, getting something different in each room of the house until you feel that this whole thing is your home, until you've met who lives in your home. And my intention when you come to my room is beauty. I journeyed on this a year ago, and this was what came out for you. That when you're with me, I hope that you come to your inner beauty. There is beauty in all things. We live by the shamanic principle, the beauty way, where we understand the beauty in all situations, in all peoples, in all things happening. Everything is just beautiful. The human experience is beautiful. Our spiritual journey is beautiful. There's a beauty to every single thing in life. So when you're with me, this is what you're experiencing, beauty. And I'm going to be taking you through a few different experiences here at the retreats. So while the first face that greets you every morning is going to be Katie's during our morning intention settings on Meditation Rock, I do plan to be there for those. But right after that intention setting, we're coming into some yoga along with some chanting and mudras. And while Katie is doing the yoga part, I'm going to be facilitating your chanting and your mudras. So the chanting parts, there's a couple of different elements to it. The first one is opening yourself as a channel. So this kind of helps you with your own spirituality, your own mediumship gifts, your own ability to open yourself in order to receive. When you come to a space like this, or when you go through ceremony, if you don't show up for your day ready to receive, if you're already so full of your own thoughts and blockages and energies that you can't receive what the facilitators are trying to give you, there's not much point in you going through this ceremony. You have to be open. You have to have room inside of yourself to receive. So through chanting, it is simply a mindfulness meditation that allows you to release thought, release expectation, release emotion, release energy, and brings you to that open, still space inside of your channel. And by your channel, I kind of envision this as the crown to the bottom of the spine, almost like a tube of air or energy, and energy moves through that, through all of the chakras. So when we start to chant, there'll be different chants that we do each day that have different meanings, different focus points, different feelings to it. It works in different parts of the body, even according to how we do the mudras. But the point of it is to open your channel so that you're able to receive. And those of you who do have some sort of mediumship gifts, healing gifts, psychic gifts, this is going to help you heighten those gifts, because when you have room inside of yourself, those messages come in much more easily. And I feel like everyone who comes to this retreat or who sees me in general, you have a big ability. I'm the teacher of teachers, okay? So you have many different kinds of teachers out there. You have your regular teachers, you have the teachers who teach teachers, and I'm one of those. So anyone who books an appointment with me or shows up for an event I have, I automatically know this person has the capability and capacity to be a healer or a teacher. This person has a big gift. This person has meaning and purpose. If you're watching this right now, it's because you have meaning and purpose and a gift. And while I believe that everybody has a gift, not everybody is drawn to me as a teacher. So when you're drawn to me as a teacher, I know you've got something. And we're going to be doing something with it eventually once you get to know who you are. So this is going to be a way to heighten that mediumship gift to allow you to receive during the retreat. But also, chanting helps you just learn to be happy because it really brings you into that neutral space. We find that our thoughts affect our energy fields. And if our thoughts are constantly thinking, then our energy is constantly moving. But through mindfulness meditation, we stop thinking thoughts and focus on a single word or phrase over and over and over again until all other thought falls away, all emotion falls away, and we're able to come to this beautiful, neutral, clear third eye space where we're not living in the future and worried about what's going to happen, where we're not living in the past and feeling victimized by old things that happened to us. We're simply in the present moment where nothing bad is happening, where we're literally just sitting, breathing, speaking in a group, being supported and loved and cared for. Nothing bad is happening when we're very much in our neutral third eye space. No worries. This is also a wisdom space that connects in a bit to the spirit of the mountain. And we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to the channeling parts of what I'm going to be facilitating here. So we're starting our day with that chanting. We will be doing a few mudras. And if you are not familiar with mudras, mudras are simply hand or finger movements that manipulate the energy in your body. So when we hold certain mudras after chanting, you're going to feel the energy holding or moving a certain way, heightening inside of your body. And these are very, very powerful because you can move the energy in your body simply by moving certain fingers or connecting certain energy points. I think that the most common mudra that people might know about who don't actually meditate or practice this is this, right? We've all seen it on TV where people are meditating and doing their Om and they're holding their hands like this. And this actually is a pretty cool mudra because what you'll notice after you chant and you have that clear channel is if you connect your fingers in any way and hold it for long enough, you'll eventually start to feel energy coming up in your fingers and moving through this almost like it's a synapse, like it's a nerve, a ring of nerves or something, and the energy is just moving like a roller coaster through your hand. And it's teaching you to heighten that energy. And we'll be working with a couple of different mudras and a couple of different chants. And that's just in the morning. On your Saturday with us, I'm going to be doing Cacao Ceremony and journey work during that Cacao Ceremony. Cacao Ceremony is not just a yummy treat, okay? I think a lot of people think of cacao and they see chocolate, and that just feels like a treat. But what you're actually getting is plant spirit medicine. This is medicine. It is not sweetened with sugar. It has a beautiful, bitter, rich, there's so many layers to it. It's just a beautiful, beautiful practice. And we will be partaking of that ceremoniously while connecting into the cacao plant, the cacao tree, the cacao pod, the cacao bean, the spirit of cacao, Mama Cacao. We're going to be honoring her. And as you ingest this ceremoniously and gratefully, you will become aware of the medicine that she has to offer you. And this is a little different for each person because when we come to Mama Cacao, we're asking her, am I here simply to receive your medicine? Am I here to work with you? Are you here to be my teacher? And Mama Cacao will answer. And it's not always going to be the answer you expect or in the way that you expect to receive it. Mama Cacao works very, very differently every single time you partake, and she acts very differently for each person. But while we do this ceremony, it is going to be a beautiful, harmonious experience as well. We're going to have some music playing because we have to honor her while we cook. She loves some good music. She is definitely a wild woman. And when we cook her down and partake of this, we're going to be doing some journey work. When we journey, we're going to be going to meet Mama Cacao first to honor her and to see what she has to offer. Mama Cacao is very sensual. She brings us into the senses of our body, what we can hear and smell and see and touch. She's very, very sensual. But at the same time, she offers healing. She softens us in our heart space to love and to healing. And when I think of the cacao tree, I see the tree of life, where those roots go way down into the past, into the ancestors. That strong trunk is where we live now in the present moment, moving forward in our timeline. And those branches coming out hold our gifts and our fruits, and it's our future. So by working with and meeting with Mama Cacao, sometimes we also learn how to heal through timeline healing. What you're going to be learning in your journey work after meeting Mama Cacao is going to be the journey of the seed. Some of you have heard me say this before in past videos, the journey of the seed, the cracking open, the learning to shine. In fact, this entire retreat is called I Shine. But what does that really mean? When we think of Mama Cacao as a seed, all of the genetic information is inside of the seed. You are, your physical body is the seed. And all of your spiritual genetic information, your gifts and who you actually are as a part of source energy is inside of that. And we have to get to the seed before we can plant the seed. If you don't know, cacao comes in a pod. And inside of that pod, 30 to 50 cacao seeds. But the pod has to be broken open. It has a pulp over it. And then the seeds can be planted to create more cacao trees. So how are we going to get through your pod? What is your pod? Your pod is the part of you that keeps you separate from the outside world. In fact, cacao seeds are sterile inside of their pods because they have not been exposed to all of the things outside of the world, all the bacteria that are out there. So when you're in your pod, this is your need to be protected, your need to be safe, your need to not be hurt. And while that's good, we don't want you to be hurt. We don't want you to be unsafe physically or even emotionally, really. We can't be open and vulnerable and grow and learn to be who we are, and we can't receive from the outside. We can't be connected to anything on the outside if we are walled in inside of our pod. In fact, people who stay walled inside of their pod for too long eventually rot in there. The pod is good when you're young, when you're a baby. The pod is good when you're learning, but you don't grow. That seed cannot ever grow or even be tasted and used to its full beauty with its potential. It can't be made into cacao. Nothing happens to that seed within the pod. And people who live in fear, that's kind of their thing. They're like, I don't want anything to happen. But then nothing ever happens. You have to be able to step outside of your comfort zone in order to grow, in order to live to your full potential, in order to be who you were meant to be and do the things that you are meant to do. I've heard a couple people say things because I'm not going to say it's an intensive type retreat, but there are a few ceremonies here that you kind of have to psych yourself up to go through. You really have to want the spiritual aspect of it to physically go through it, such as the sweat lodge and the fire walking. I have to really want that spiritual thing to connect and to meet with God through allowing my body to overcome fear, to overcome sweat, to overcome heat and fire, to reach those things. And I've heard a lot of people, not a lot, but a few people say things like, well, if I get to that ceremony and I don't really want to, do I have to? And you've heard all of the other facilitators, they're like, no, you don't have to. Definitely not. It's all about your comfort level. You do what makes you feel comfortable. This is about you. This is where I'm different. This is where I'm different, and hear me out. Hear me out, because I'm not saying you have to do every single thing. But what I am saying is if you have been called to this retreat and you show up to a certain ceremony and you're too afraid to do the ceremony, you're not receiving what the ceremony is trying to give you. You're still letting yourself live in fear. And you have to be able to push yourself to receive, to engage in. You have to get out of your pod in order to grow, in order to live the way that you're meant to. So, that's where I'm a little different with that, because I just feel like if you're here, you really want to do those ceremonies. You really want to see what would happen if you met yourself, your true self, your God self. But sometimes we just need a little encouragement. We need a community. We need a group rooting for us and yelling for us and supporting us and chanting our names, because they know what we're capable of even when we don't. And that's where I'm at. So we have to be able to break that pod open. And that pod represents the ego self, the human brain, the part that says, oh, that's too scary, or oh, I'm afraid, or I don't know if I am worthy of this or good enough for this, or if I can do this. We're breaking away the ego when we journey during Cacao Ceremony. We are going to journey through ego death and understand what that means to not be so reliant on our physical body. We're coming into our senses first and then releasing everything that it means to be physical. And then, once out of that pod, we can take that little cacao seed and plant it in the earth. This is scary too, because who wants to be in a dark space? If you think about this seed, we're putting it in a damp, dark space all alone. But what you're actually doing is you are giving your deepest desires and wishes and who you authentically are to the womb of Mother Earth, and allowing her to gestate you, allowing her to nurture you, to hold you, to grow you. And only when you've received everything that you need, taking all that you need, will you, that little seed, crack open, and that beautiful shoot will start to come out. It's going to put out long, deep, wide roots to stabilize it into the earth, to connect it to Mother Earth and all of life and that heartbeat coming from the earth itself. And only once all of that is done will that little shoot make its way above the surface where we can see it in the 3D world, your growth. So this whole experience, I've talked a bit about the cracking open, because when you crack, that's when you shine. But that's only one little part of what's actually happening here. You're being planted, you're being nurtured, you're being looked after, you're receiving, you're putting down those roots, you're being stabilized. You cannot build on something that is unstable. So we're stabilizing that foundation, putting out those roots, and then you're growing from that shine space that you are on the inside into who you authentically are. And you're different than anyone else when you're in the 3D realm. When you're shining out, we all share that unity power. But when you are expressing it in the 3D, it looks very different. So when we plant this cacao tree and it finally has rooted and received and cracked and it's shining and it's growing up out of the ground, it's going to look very different than a sunflower seed. It's going to look very different than an apple tree. It's going to look very different than a willow tree, because that's how it expresses in the 3D its authentic gifts and what it's here to do and be. Same as you. So you're going to be going through that process when we do Cacao Ceremony. And after that, we are also going to be doing some drum circle and channeling. I love this. I'm going to say, I really, really love ego death journey work. I like the dark stuff, guys. I know I'm of the light and I'm shiny and I talk to angels all the time, but trust me, that dark stuff that you go through, that's what this light is meant to pull you through, to get you through. That dark stuff is helping you root in, it's helping you receive and grow. So I love doing that ego death stuff. And then when we come into the drum circle and channeling, Katie is going to be teaching you guys a few drum patterns so that you can help bring up the energy of the mountain. Picture it like this: a sacred fire. All of us around this beautiful sacred fire. Luminous Warrior paint on your face because you found your inner Luminous Warrior. You have found who you are on the inside. And as we are around this space, we begin to connect into the drum beat, to the heartbeat of Mother Earth herself. And then that energy raises higher and higher and higher. And there might be some people who stay with her heartbeat the whole time, connecting in with her, loving her, while other people are at twice that speed. Think of the heart and the soul and everything that's going on here. And the more we drum, the more we all begin to connect again in unity as a community to each other. Because I'm not just listening, I'm feeling the earth. I'm feeling what this person's playing and what that person's playing, what that person's playing. And we're all connecting in together and flowing through this. And then you're going to have your people who have that wild woman, the people who want to put down that drum and dance, the people who want to beat their bare feet against the dirt and let wild woman shine through, let their luminous warrior shine through. And there's dancing and trilling and singing and chanting and screaming and yelling. And all of this heightened energy brings up the spirit of the mountain to be channeled. So I want to back up just a second. The Luminous Warrior. I've mentioned it in other videos. I'm going to mention it here because it's part of the drum circle and the paint and the scene that you're seeing in your head right now. When we think of a Luminous Warrior, think of that word luminous. Luminous means shining. When you break away the ego parts, the pod of this seed, when that seed opens inside of the earth and receives and begins to shine out and forward, this is your inner luminous warrior, the part of you inside that's ready to do what needs to be done, that's ready to bring to the earth what only you can bring because you are your authentic self expressing as only you can. A luminous warrior has no shadow. It is luminous. This isn't white and black, right and left, light and dark. This isn't the yin and the yang. This is the whole. This is unity. The sun has no shadow, which means that we're not bringing our fears and our wounds when we are around this fire. We're bringing our warrior. We're bringing the integrated parts of us. We're not rejecting the shadow to become the light. We are integrating, becoming luminous and shining through. You have not ignored your fears. You have taken on those fears, understanding that they're your human aspects of self, and you've walked through fire anyways. Unity, luminous, coming together. And only in that state are you truly empowered, because you know what you're capable of. You've walked through the fire. You're capable of anything. Your luminous state. And these are the things we're bringing here. So the spirit of the mountain, remember, we're drumming. We're bringing up that energy. And drum circles do a few different things. They connect us in community, like what we just talked about. But also, drum circles get us into transcendental states where we bring our spirit up out of our physical body through the experience, through the sound, or for some people, even through the wildness of being free with your body, because in this society, we're so suppressed with our bodies. We are afraid to speak, we're afraid to sing, we're afraid to dance, we're afraid to be embarrassed, we're afraid for people to see us, we're afraid to put ourselves out there. But by the time you get to this drum circle, you've already done it all. You're a luminous warrior. It doesn't matter anymore. And we're so connected and so loving and so supportive. Remember that this is a small group anyways. It's not like there's hundreds of people out here that you're drumming in front of. This is us. This is our group. The people who you've connected with through ceremony after ceremony, who you've seen them cry, you've seen them overcome, you have seen them show up for themselves. Really show up for yourself. If you feel guided to this retreat in any way, show up for yourself. That's the most important part. Just showing up, saying, I'm here, Spirit. I feel you guiding me, and now I'm here. I'm here to receive, allowing yourself to receive. When we get into our transcendental states, letting our energy rise up, we're also more able to receive messages from the spirit realm. So far, all of this stuff really has to do with our abilities for mediumship. To a certain extent, this is your guidance and messages, and you do that through the chanting and opening your channel. You're doing that through meeting Mama Cacao, and you're doing that through the drum circle, because when that energy gets high enough, I'm going to call in the spirit of the mountain and channel the spirit of the mountain for you. So we have a lot going on with communication, with guidance, but then all of these things also bring you towards beauty. Your chanting and your mudras teach you how to just live in stillness, that third eye space, that happiness. Your cacao ceremony, while we're going through the journey work and receiving medicine, cacao is a beautiful, sensual way to just feel happy. It releases endorphins and serotonin and dopamine and brings you into that heart space. It's an aphrodisiac. It's just teaching you to be sensual and to live a happy life. And here at the drum circle, where you're so connected and so in unity and community, you're just feeling happiness, transcendence, this transcendental feeling, this vibe that begins to happen of heightened energy. The mountain itself represents air, wisdom, if you will. The lowlands or valleys often represent feminine energy, whereas those mountains represent masculine energy. But the top of the mountain is what I want you to relate to as the heart chakra, because that top of the mountain is the place where the earth and the sky meet. This is the top of the mountain, sky and earth. That's your heart. It's where your lower physical base chakras meet your higher spiritual chakras. And anything that passes through the heart becomes transformed. Anything from the lower part of the body that wants to become spiritual, anything from the physical body that wants to become spiritual has to pass through the heart. And anything from the spiritual realms that wants to come into the 3D, into the physical, has to pass through the heart. Your heart is your transformation and connection space. The heart is what happens when you come out of your pod and you begin to shine, when you connect. So at the top of this mountain is where you will receive your transformation. We're bringing up this heightened energy. We're drumming. We're excited. We're bringing it up. And then I will begin to channel the spirit of the mountain when the energy is heightened enough. To deepen that, in case you were not aware, I am a trance channel. You've probably seen some of my past videos where I trance channel some angel energies. And I will say, to prepare everybody, and we'll do this more in person when I kind of can feel out the energy of the mountain, that trance channeling is not always as peaceful and easy as it might look. Trance channeling is literally becoming such an open channel with such heightened energies that the angel or the spirits that you allow can sit down inside of this body and speak through you. And the reason that I do this is so that you can meet the spirit of the mountain, not me as an intermediary saying, oh, well, the mountain says this. You ask your question, oh, the mountain says this. This mountain is taking my body because I'm offering it. And you will get to meet face to face the spirit of this mountain. You will get to ask your questions. You will get the answer directly from the spirit of the mountain using my mouth. You will receive an energetic blessing from the spirit of the mountain. So all of this has to do with that wisdom space. The drum circle's bringing you joy, and the channeling is bringing you guidance and wisdom. Straight from that third eye, top of the mountain, heart space. All of this is coming through. Trance channeling, I don't want to say it can be violent, but we're being very honest. I'm such an honest person here. It's not always calm. It's not always as simple as shutting my eyes. Okay, now open them and speak. There are physical effects of my energy leaving my body and a different energy coming in. So I'll have my helpers around, my people who watch out for me. Your job during that drum circle is to bring up that energy, get your Luminous Warrior out there, and then get ready to receive from this energy. The energy of the mountain came to me last year before we even booked in this particular space on this mountain. It visited me, and it was huge, and it was speaking to me, and it wanted to be seen and heard. And I told our assistant teacher, I said, I think that this spirit of this is this mountain right here, this particular retreat center that, you know, we had a notebook. And I don't know if I want to show you my notebook, but I have so many pages on this side that are written in, but I don't want you to see my work. And I had many different retreat centers written in my book to look up, you know, to see how many people they facilitate and stuff like that. And this was one of them. The retreat center, the Mountain RLC, Retreat and Learning Center, was one of them. And I haven't seen it yet. I, hadn't really talked too much to them at that point. But when that spirit came to me, I told our assistant teacher, I said, I think it's coming from that space. And she set up an appointment to go visit. And then she was visited. And she said, this is it. This is the space. If nothing else, this is the energy that wants to meet these people. This is a preordained moment. The people who come here, they're going to receive something that no one else receives at any other time in their lives. So this spirit of this particular mountain has something for you, a blessing for you, something that's going to help transform you into that open heart space, this blessing that will help you live a happy and joyful life, guiding you towards your highest path, keeping you in alignment with your luminous warrior and your highest path. We're going to learn more about the spirit of the mountain as we get closer to time, or as you guys get out there, because this isn't something that I want to just put out in a video for anyone to see. The people who are going to be meeting the spirit of the mountain are the ones who need the information about the spirit of the mountain. So if you have any questions about that, just let me know. But this is a closed ceremony. If you're there, you'll receive this blessing and more information. And if you're not, maybe you weren't called to this particular one, but maybe there will be a different energy that you're called to meet and work with at one of our later retreats. But all of this beautiful stuff is bringing you towards your joy, your happy life, your wisdom, your openness to receive. This is just a beautiful, beautiful process. And that's what I personally am going to be bringing to this retreat in June, the I Shine Inner Fire Retreat. Make sure that you get your tickets. The link is below. We're almost sold out at the time I'm recording this video. We are almost sold out. So if you really feel called towards it, make sure that you get it in. And I look forward to meeting you on the mountain. Bye.